What if everything you believe about your life, what's possible, what's realistic, what's just the way things are, is a lie? Not a mistake, not a misunderstanding, a lie. You were taught to play small, to wait your turn, to be realistic, to stay safe. You were conditioned to trade your curiosity for comfort, your fire for approval, your purpose for a paycheck. And the scariest part? You didn't even realize it. You've been living under invisible rules written by people who stopped chasing their own dreams a long time ago. Somewhere along the way, the system convinced you that settling is noble, that fitting in is success, and that fear is wisdom. It isn't. You feel it, don't you? That dull ache in your chest when you think about your life. That quiet sense that something is missing even when everything looks fine from the outside. It's not depression. It's not confusion. It's your soul whispering the truth. You were not born for average. There's a reason you feel restless, a reason your heart beats faster when you think about more. It's not greed. It's not ego. It's your spirit trying to wake you up from the trance. Because deep down you know you've been waiting. Waiting for someone to give you permission. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting to feel ready. But that moment is not coming. No one is going to hand you your life back. You have to take it. Every day you spend asleep in routine, you drift further from who you were meant to be. Every excuse, every delay, every comfortable lie, it all adds up. And then one day you wake up and you can't feel the fire anymore. You can't hear the whisper. You've waited so long you've forgotten what you were waiting for. But not yet. Not today. Today you get to choose something different. You get to challenge the voice that says, this is just how life is. You get to reject the narrative that you must survive but never thrive. You get to remember that this life, this single fleeting beautiful chance, is yours. And that's why this matters. That's why you're still listening. Because a part of you knows the truth. A part of you remembers. And that part is still alive. Stay with me, because over the next few minutes, we're not going to sugarcoat anything. We're going to dig deep. We're going to confront the lies. We're going to tear down the mental walls that have kept you locked in place. And when we're done, you won't see your life the same way again. Not because something outside you changed, but because you finally did. This could be the most important wake-up call of your life, the moment everything turns. The beginning of who you really are. You just have to choose to stay awake. Time doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't pause while you figure it out. It doesn't slow down when you feel overwhelmed or stuck or scared. It just keeps moving, quietly, invisibly, relentlessly. And while you hesitate, while you overthink, while you plan and replan and second-guess, your life is being spent. Moments you'll never get back are slipping through your fingers like grains of sand. And you know it. Deep inside, you know how precious this is, how fragile, how quickly it can all be gone. You are taught to believe that you have time, that there will always be another chance, another Monday, another month, another year. But how many dreams have already died while you waited for the perfect time to begin? How many chances did you let go because you weren't sure, weren't certain, weren't confident enough? This illusion that you have forever is the most dangerous lie of all, because it makes you comfortable, it makes you passive, and it makes you forget that you're running out of chances. If you knew you had 1 year left, how would you live it? If you knew you had one chance to turn everything around, how would you spend this day, this hour, this minute? What you do with your time reveals what you truly value, not your words, not your hopes, not your goals, your time. Every wasted hour is a silent decision to stay the same. Every distraction, every delay, every excuse is you choosing comfort over change. And yet, you have the power to shift it all. Not tomorrow, not someday, right now. One decision is all it takes to begin again. One decision to stop letting time own you and start owning your time. Because when you realize how limited it is, something inside you awakens. You stop scrolling. You stop settling. You stop pretending that you're okay with a life that doesn't set your soul on fire. Your future is not guaranteed, but your effort is, your focus is, your discipline is. You control how you spend this moment. You control what you feed your mind. You control whether you grow or shrink. Time is either your greatest asset or your greatest enemy, and the choice is always yours. Don't wait for life to give you a sign. This is it. The urgency you feel right now isn't panic, it's truth. You were not made to float through existence waiting for things to happen. You were built to create, to lead, to leave a mark so deep that the world feels your presence long after you're gone. Don't waste another second wishing for a better past. The only thing that matters now is what you do with what's in front of you. This minute, this breath, this opportunity. You still have time to rewrite your story, but only if you start now. The real battle isn't out there, it's inside you. It's not your circumstances, it's not your past, it's not your environment. It's the war between who you are and who you were told to be. The loud voices around you convinced you to play it safe, to follow the rules, to stay inside the lines. But those lines were never drawn for your freedom. They were drawn to contain you. And now, every time you think about stepping out, your mind hesitates. You doubt, you shrink, and you retreat back to comfort even when it hurts. You don't need more motivation. You need to break the illusion that safety exists in staying small. There is no safety in hiding. There is no reward in holding back. There is only regret. Every time you silence your voice, every time you dim your light, every time you say maybe later, you build another brick in the invisible wall around your life. That wall becomes a prison, not made of stone, but of thoughts, patterns, and beliefs that you never chose consciously. But now you can. You have to decide who you want to be, not who you've been, not what they expect.
You, the real you.
The one buried under years of fear and hesitation, the one who dreamed boldly before the world, convinced you it was dangerous. You are not your mistakes. You are not your doubts. You are not your failures. You are the one who survived it all and is still standing, still breathing, still capable of rising. The mind will tell you it's too hard, that you're not ready, that you need more time, more clarity, more proof. But none of that is true. The mind lies to protect itself. It doesn't want change. It wants comfort. And comfort will kill your spirit if you let it. Real growth begins the moment you stop negotiating with your excuses. The moment you stop asking permission to be great. The moment you say, I don't care how I feel, I'm doing it anyway. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to move while afraid. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. You don't have to be confident. You just have to show up. One decision, one step, one action at a time, and the prison begins to crack. The walls start to crumble. The voice inside you grows louder than the voice outside you, and you begin to realize the door was never locked. This is the moment you choose freedom, not comfort, not certainty, freedom, the kind that comes from knowing you are becoming who you were always meant to be, not because someone gave you permission, but because you finally decided you didn't need it. The voice inside your head can either be your greatest ally or your most vicious enemy. It whispers in moments of doubt. It shouts when you try to rise. It knows your insecurities, your failures, your fears, and it uses them against you, not because it's evil, but because it's afraid. Afraid of what happens when you stop listening, afraid of your power, afraid of what you might become if you ever silence it. But here's the truth, that voice is not you. It's a collection of echoes, old beliefs, outdated fears, past rejections, buried shame. It's the noise of every moment you were told you weren't enough. And somewhere along the way, you started believing it. You started calling it truth. You began living like it was your identity. But it's not. It's just noise. And you have the power to change the station. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're not behind. You're just programmed. Programmed by years of repetition, negativity, and survival. You didn't choose that voice, but you've been repeating its words so long they feel familiar. And familiarity is powerful. Familiarity feels safe, even when it's toxic. But safe won't set you free. Comfortable won't make you grow. Familiar won't build the life you know you're capable of living. You have to interrupt the pattern. You have to speak louder than the voice that says you're not ready. Not by yelling, or not by force, but by action. You rewire the mind by doing the very things it tells you not to. You build new belief by showing your brain a new pattern. You don't wait for confidence to show up. You create it by proving to yourself that you can move forward anyway. It starts with a single decision. I will no longer be ruled by a voice that was never mine. Every time you act in spite of fear, you weaken the grip of that voice. Every time you step forward when doubt screams at you to stop, you rewrite your identity. And identity is where transformation begins. Because you don't become who you are through thought. You become it through repetition, through proof, through motion. You cannot think your way into a new life. You have to live your way into it. One step, one action, one new habit at a time. The mind will fight you. It will argue. It will try to drag you back. Let it talk, but don't obey. Let it scream, but don't submit. Your life isn't built by what you feel. It's built by what you do when it's hard to feel anything at all. You have power, not because someone told you, but because you've survived everything that was supposed to break you. You're still here, still breathing, still capable of choosing a new direction. That voice in your head, let it speak, then rise anyway. You will never rise above the identity you've accepted. You can work harder, grind longer, chase goals with intensity, but if your core belief still says, I'm not enough, you'll always find a way to sabotage it, because your life will always follow the pattern of what you believe you deserve. And most people are not stuck because they lack talent. They're stuck because they've become loyal to an outdated version of themselves, a version shaped by failure, by pain, by the opinions of others. But you are not obligated to remain who you once were. You are allowed to outgrow yourself. The mind craves consistency. It wants your actions to match your identity. And that's why change feels so hard, because every step forward threatens who you believed yourself to be. But this is how transformation begins, not by forcing change from the outside in, but by shifting who you believe you are at the core. When you stop saying, I want to be disciplined, and start saying, I am someone who follows through, everything starts to change. You begin living as if it's already true. Because identity is not about who you've been. It's about who you're becoming and whether your actions align with that truth. You cannot keep feeding an identity that keeps you small and expect your life to expand. You cannot keep saying, I'm always like this, and expect to evolve. That language becomes law. Those patterns become prophecy. You teach your brain what's possible by what you allow yourself to believe. The question is not, can I do it? The question is, who do I need to become to do it? Because once you become it internally, the world begins to reflect it externally. It doesn't start with some massive breakthrough. It starts with one new choice, one new standard, one moment where you stop negotiating with weakness and start aligning with strength. Not because it's easy, not because it's comfortable, but because your future depends on it. The more you act in alignment with the identity you desire, the more your brain accepts it as normal. And what used to feel impossible becomes your new baseline. You no longer force discipline. You are discipline. You no longer chase greatness. You embody it. Every time you take action aligned with who you want to become, you weaken the grip of the past. Every time you hold a new standard, you prove to yourself that change is not only possible, it's already happening. You are not here to repeat patterns. You are here to break them. You are not here to fit into your old life. You are here to build a new one. And it begins by asking yourself one question every day with ruthless honesty. Is this who I want to be? Your mind is a machine, but you are the one programming it. Every thought you allow, every belief you repeat, every image you dwell on, it's all code. And that code becomes your reality. Most people don't realize they're running software they never chose. They inherited it, absorbed it, memorized it from childhood, repetition, failure, fear, and now it governs their actions like an invisible hand. If you want a new life, you need a new mind. You need to reprogram the patterns that have kept you looping in the same cycle. No matter how bad you want out, you don't get what you want. You get what you're wired for. Wanting more while thinking like less creates conflict. Wanting freedom while feeding fear creates paralysis. This isn't about toxic positivity or fake confidence. It's about alignment. Your brain looks for what you tell it to find. If you feed it defeat, it will find proof of why you should give up. If you feed it strength, it will start searching for paths. The subconscious doesn't care about your goals. It responds to repetition and emotion. So what are you feeding it daily? What thoughts are you rehearsing on loop without even noticing? The most powerful prison is the one you don't know you're in. And the most powerful freedom is realizing the key was always in your pocket. You are not helpless. You are not stuck. You are simply repeating, And what you repeat, you reinforce. But what you challenge, you change. Start noticing the words you speak to yourself. Start challenging the stories you believe for so long, the ones that tell you you're too late, too broken, too behind. Every single one of those is a script, and scripts can be rewritten. You don't need perfect conditions. You need internal permission. The moment you decide to retrain your mind instead of reacting to it, everything shifts. You begin speaking as if the future is already yours. You begin moving as if success is a habit, not a miracle. You stop chasing change and you start embodying it. And slowly your mind stops resisting. It begins to obey because you've taken back control. Yes, it takes effort. Yes, it takes repetition. But that's how everything works. Growth isn't complicated. It's just uncomfortable. You're not doing this to feel good. You're doing it to become unstoppable. And once your mind is trained to serve your vision, your past no longer has the power to shape your future. You become the designer, not the victim. You become the architect, not the observer. And suddenly, the impossible begins to feel familiar. You don't need to fix everything today, but you need to stop feeding the patterns that are killing your potential. Start small, start focused, start now, because every thought you master becomes a brick in the foundation of the life you're building. There is power in pain, but only if you face it. Most people run from it. They bury it. They pretend it's not there. But you can't heal what you won't feel. You can't grow through what you avoid. Pain isn't your enemy, it's your invitation. It's life calling you to rise. Every wound you've carried, every scar on your heart, every silent breakdown, it all holds energy. And that energy can either poison you or push you. You decide what it becomes. You are not weak for hurting. You are not broken because you've struggled. The fact that you've felt deeply means you're alive. It means you still care, and that matters. But if you don't transform your pain, you'll transfer it to your relationships, to your work, to your self-worth. Pain ignored becomes behavior accepted. It becomes the silent force steering your choices. It becomes the story you live inside without realizing you wrote it years ago. But that story is not finished, and you still hold the pen. There's a reason you haven't given up. There's a reason you're still listening. Somewhere inside, even beneath all the hurt, there's a fire that refuses to die. That fire is your truth. It's the part of you that knows this pain has a purpose, even if you can't see it yet. You weren't meant to break and stay broken. You were meant to rise different, wiser, stronger, sharper. Pain is the pressure that shapes the diamond. But only if you let it shape you, not define you. Stop asking why it happened. Start asking what you can build with it, what you can become through it. There is a version of you that only pain can unlock, a deeper strength, a clearer purpose, a bolder courage. When you stop fighting the pain and start facing it, you gain access to your next level. Not the polished version, the real one, the one who doesn't hide, the one who doesn't wait for perfect timing or approval, the one who's felt the fire and still walks forward. You don't need to heal all at once. You don't need to erase your past. You just need to stop carrying it like it defines you. Let it teach you, not trap you. Let it remind you how far you've come, not how much you've lost. You've already survived the storm. Now it's time to build with what's left. Your pain is your power when you own it, when you stop apologizing for the battles you've fought, when you wear your scars as proof that nothing was strong enough to stop you. And every time you rise, even when it hurts, you send a message to the world and to yourself, I'm still here. I'm still fighting. I'm not done yet. There is a cost to waiting, a cost to staying silent when your soul is screaming for more, a cost to choosing safety over growth, to choosing comfort over your calling. That cost is your life, slowly slipping away in moments you'll never get back. Every time you shrink, every time you avoid the challenge, every time you pretend that someday will come on its own, you pay with your potential. You pay with the version of yourself you could have been. Regret isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It shows up in the quiet moments when the world is asleep and you're left alone with your thoughts. It shows up when you watch others rise and wonder why you never did. It shows up when you realize the door was open the whole time, but you never walked through it. The pain of failure is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. Because it's not about what you did. It's about what you didn't do. You were born with something rare, a fire, a light, a unique imprint that no one else can offer. And if you don't activate it, the world doesn't just lose what you could have created, you do. You lose yourself. You lose the chance to see what was truly possible. You lose the chance to live a life that was your own, not one handed to you by fear, by culture, by people who gave up on their dreams and taught you to do the same. But you don't have to follow that script. You can break the pattern. You can decide that this moment is the one where things change. Not by magic, not by luck, but by the courage to stop waiting. Waiting has never served you. It has only delayed the inevitable truth that your time is running out and no one is coming to save you. This is your life. This is your choice. This is your moment. What are you waiting for? The perfect conditions? They don't exist. The right time? It's now. The feeling of being ready? It doesn't come before the action. It comes because of it. Stop letting fear write your future. Stop letting hesitation steal your progress. Stop letting the illusion of later rob you of what you could be now. There is no later. There is only what you do with the breath in your lungs right now. You will never know what's possible until you go all in. No more half effort. No more excuses disguised as logic. No more dreams abandoned in the name of being practical. Live. Fully, boldly, without apology. And if you fall, at least you'll know you tried. At least you'll know you lived. You have more power than you've ever been taught to believe. It's not in your talent. It's not in your background. It's not in your circumstances. It's in your choice to rise every single day, no matter how hard it gets. No one can give you that power, and no one can take it from you. It's built in the moments when you refuse to quit, when you show up, even when you feel invisible, when you take another step, even with fear pressing down on your chest. That's where strength is forged. That's where transformation begins. You don't become great by waiting to feel like it. You become great by acting when it's hardest, when your emotions tell you to stop, when your doubts tell you it's useless, when your past tries to convince you it's already over. You don't overcome by thinking, you overcome by moving, by deciding that your actions will no longer be dictated by mood, excuses, or fear. Every time you rise when it's easier to stay down, you teach yourself something new. You teach yourself that you are not a slave to emotion. You are the master of what you become. It's easy to be committed when things feel good, but your real power shows up when they don't, when everything feels heavy, when no one's clapping, when the progress is invisible and the results are delayed. That's when your decisions matter most. That's when you build the kind of momentum that separates the average from the unstoppable. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about staying in motion, even if it's slow, even if it's messy, even if it feels like nothing is changing. You were not built to be passive. You were not created to wait for life to hand you a purpose. You're here to make one, to rise in the dark, to fight for something that matters, to look at your excuses and say, not today, to show the part of you that still doubts that you are willing to go further than fear ever expected. You don't have to be the most talented. You don't have to be the most confident. You just have to be the one who refuses to stay down. Every day you stay in motion, you are winning. Every choice you make to align with the future you want, no matter how small, rewires your path. Every moment you push past the urge to quit, you become stronger than you were yesterday. That's growth, quiet, unseen, relentless. And if you keep going, if you don't give in, you'll look back and realize you've already become what once felt impossible. Keep going. Not because it's easy, but because the version of you that's waiting on the other side is worth every step it takes to get there. Let me know when you're ready for the next 500-word section, or want this formatted for a cinematic voiceover with pacing cues. What you resist persists, but what you face transforms. The fears, the doubts, the voices that tell you to stop, they only have power because you give it to them. The moment you decide to lean into discomfort, to sit with uncertainty instead of running, you crack the foundation of those limits. Transformation is not about waiting for fear to disappear. It's about walking through it anyway. Courage doesn't mean absence of fear. It means acting despite fear. Every time you choose action over avoidance, you shrink the space fear occupies in your mind. You build a new muscle, a muscle of resilience, of boldness, of unshakable resolve. You are not your failures. You are not your mistakes. You are the force that continues to rise after each fall. This world doesn't reward perfection. It rewards persistence. It rewards those who keep moving when everything inside screams to quit. When the pressure mounts and the path is unclear, that is when your true strength surfaces. It's forged in the furnace of challenge, honed by the relentless refusal to give up. You were designed to endure, to adapt, to overcome. But first you must accept that pain is not your enemy, it's your guide. It signals where growth is needed. It marks the threshold of your next level. Let go of the need to control every outcome. Control is an illusion that breeds anxiety and paralysis. Instead, master your response to what you can't control. You may not dictate what life throws your way, but you can decide how you face it. That decision, no matter how small, is the seed of transformation. It's where your power truly lies. Every second you choose clarity over confusion, calm over chaos, courage over fear, you reshape your destiny. You rewrite the code that has held you captive. Embrace the discomfort of change. It means leaving the familiar behind, even if it's painful. It means shedding the old version of yourself that no longer serves you. Growth is messy. Growth is uncertain. Growth asks for your faith before the results appear. But the greatest rewards come on the other side of that faith. When you step into the unknown with determination, you create space for miracles. Miracles not of magic, but of transformation, a new identity, a new life, a new way of being. You have everything you need right now to start. You have the strength, the will, the capacity to push through. The difference between where you are and where you want to be is not talent or luck, it's consistency. The consistency to choose the harder right over the easier wrong, day after day. To show up when no one's watching. To keep going when no progress is visible. That invisible work is the foundation of every success story. It is the quiet power that propels you forward long after excitement fades. You don't have to wait for permission. You don't need anyone else to believe in you first. The only approval you require is your own. Own your journey, own your struggles, own your victories, no matter how small. This moment is your invitation to step fully into your power and become the person you were always meant to be. You have been underestimating your own capacity to change. The limits you see are not walls. They are mirrors reflecting what you believe about yourself. Every barrier, every I can't, every not enough is a signal that it's time to rewrite your internal script. The truth is, your mind is incredibly adaptable. It's waiting for you to give it a new command, a new belief, a new vision of who you can be. The problem isn't that you lack power. The problem is that you've accepted the narrative that power belongs to someone else, that greatness is for others, not you. But greatness is not a secret reserved for the chosen few. It's a choice, a commitment you make to yourself every single day. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have all the answers. You only need to show up and decide that this time will be different. The voice in your head that says, "I'm not ready," is lying. Readiness is a myth. Action creates readiness. Momentum creates confidence. If you wait to feel ready, you'll wait forever. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. The path is paved by those who take imperfect steps consistently, not by those who wait for a flawless plan. Your emotions will try to sabotage you. Doubt will whisper that you're fooling yourself. Fear will threaten to pull you back into the comfort zone. That's normal. But don't let those feelings decide your future. Feelings are temporary, but the results of your decisions are lasting. Master the skill of moving forward despite your emotional state. That skill is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Every step you take toward your vision, no matter how small, is a rebellion against the lies you were told. Remember, growth is not linear. There will be setbacks. There will be days when you feel defeated. That's not failure, that's progress. It means you're pushing boundaries. It means you're stretching beyond the familiar. The only real failure is quitting. So embrace the discomfort, embrace the struggle, and know that each challenge is a sign that you're on the right path. You are not your circumstances. You are not your past mistakes. You are not the sum of your fears. You are the one who chooses what to believe about yourself today. You are the one who decides how to respond when life gets hard. You are the one who can rewrite your story starting right now. This moment is a turning point, a moment of clarity and courage. You don't need permission to begin. You don't need anyone else's approval. The only permission you need is the one you give yourself. to rise, to fight, to grow, to become, keep moving forward. Because the person you will become on the other side of this journey is waiting for you to take the first step.